Okay, for our first dead Space Marine, you're going to start by gluing on both of his legs in the normal configuration. Next, you're going to take this arm with the open hand on it and cut the hand off. This hand, focus so you can see it. There you go, that hand. Then, you're going to glue it onto a different arm, like so. Once you do that, you're going to glue that arm onto the body, like so. Then you're going to glue on the shoulder pad, which is the only time I caught this on camera, apparently. Then you're going to take this arm with the pistol and the holster, and you're going to cut it off. You can clean up the fingers. I didn't because they're facing to the ground. Then you'll just glue that arm onto the body, like so. And before the glue has time to dry fully, you're going to put it down flat, and you're going to micro adjust it, like so. And the final step will be to glue in the head. You're going to start off by gluing on this arm, throwing a grenade, which I did off camera. This is from the Flamer kit. You're then going to take the other arm where it was pulling the pin out of that grenade. I didn't like the way it sat, so I clipped out the little arm section here. Once you do that, holy glue, Batman, you're going to glue it into place, like so. The final step before gluing in the head is you're going to shave out a little bit of this collar back here so that way you can angle the head a little bit further back. You're then going to glue in your head, angle it the way you like it to fit into the notch, and then hit it with some activator to lock it in place. And there's your dead Space Marine. Yeah. And his bolter. Only dropped once. Okay. Oh! So, for the heavy Space Marine that's up at the front of the line, just laying down some hate, you're going to use this heavy gun for him. Focus up. There we go. This gun, it comes out of the Company Heroes kit. You're going to then take these hoses and cut them off. This is the only modification really you'll be doing on this Space Marine, so it's a pretty quick one. This is the gun. Once the hoses are removed, you're then going to glue on the arms for the gun. Once the arms are glued on, you're going to put some glue on both sides of the Space Marine body. So you can just slide this on, slide the arms on, hold them in place, and then hit them with some activator so it locks it in place. Then you're just going to glue in the head, and he's going to stare death in the face. Lock it in place with some activator, and this heavy just laying down some hate is ready to go. Okay, for this last Space Marine, you get a 2 Marine special. So you're going to start off by shaving down the back of this leg, so that way it goes from a standing position into a seated position. Shave it down until you're comfortable. This requires a lot of testing until you get it just right. Once you do, you're going to hit it with some glue. I put some activator on the base, so that way it locks it in place pretty quick. Hold it for a couple seconds until the activator kicks in. Focus up. Cool. And now he's in a semi-seated / being dragged phase. Next, you're going to cut off this little nub that locks the other leg into a standing position. Shave it down until you're happy. Hit it with some glue. And then you're going to glue the leg into place, like so. Then you're going to take this arm. We're going to go over how I Dremel or drill out my barrels. I like to go in from the side first because I find that it's easier to go in from the side and then the front. I'd go in, sorry, my finger's in the way, so it's hard to focus. I'm using the Army Painter drill. This is one I've had for quite a while. I've done a lot of barrels with this. So it's kind of dull at this point, so it takes a little bit more effort to get through it. But I actually kind of like that. I blew out quite a bit of barrels in the beginning when it was very sharp. So once you go through, you want to keep going a little bit so it cleans out excess plastic, like so. Nice clean hole. And this is the smallest bit that the one comes with. Then you take a knife or some tool and you carefully carve a little pilot hole. I've stabbed my fingers countless times trying to do this, like so. Once you have that done, sometimes it's a little off center. Try to get it center if you can. You'll then go in from the front and drill it out. I find it's easier to go from the side first and then the front because there's way less plastic that you have to go, and it usually is pretty easy to keep it on center. And if you're just slightly off center, you don't blow out the side of the muzzle quite as often. To kind of wrap it up, you'll just go in through the side one more time to clean out that little bit of excess plastic from the front. And there you go. The front and sides are done. Then you're going to glue it onto the body, like so. Once that's done, I glue in the head so he's aiming down the pistol, like so. Yeah. Then you're going to glue on the other arm, like, uh, okay, well, all right. Get it together. I've built models before, I promise. Yeah. Okay, cool. So that's not where I want it to be. You're gonna adjust it again, and it's back in place.
Out of in
Okay, now that my fingers are unstuck from it and the glue has started to dry, that is what he'll look like. Put on the shoulder pads and the pistol pouch, and there you go. That is your dragged Marine done. For the one dragging him, you're gonna glue on both of his legs in just the normal position, like so. Then you're going to take this arm holding a magazine. It's a magazine, not a clip, just so everybody's aware. And you're going to cut it off. Then you're going to clean out that little bit in the hand. You want that kind of cupping hand so it glues onto the backpack as he's dragging it. You're going to take a knife or some tool, clean it out a little bit more, just like that. Then you're going to take an arm, snip off the wrist so you can do this open hand flush, and this will be the other arm for the Space Marine that's dragging him. You'll then take that open hand and you will glue it onto that arm so you have both arms complete. I found it was easier to do both of them first, so I could kind of test it, and then glue on the first arm, kind of test fit it so that it's in the right angle. Once you do that, I stuck some super glue in the palm of his hand, some activator on the backpack, placed both of them on the table, and then I paired them together so that way the glue could dry. And now you have him dragging one arm, the Space Marine. To reinforce it, because it's a weak point, I hit the top and bottom with some extra super glue and some activator to lock that in place so it's a more secure bond. And then I glue on the second arm. Put some more glue in the palm, stick the arm on, and there you go. There's both arms on the dragging Space Marine. Ta-da! Then, to kind of finish it up a little bit, I'm gonna glue in the head, and it's just kind of a straightforward, slightly off center look. Lock it in place with some activator, and there you go. And there's one final step for this Marine to be done. You're going to take this slung bolter. I believe this is also from the Company Heroes box. Cut off this little shoulder pad bit. You're going to take a knife and clean off that little ugly piece hanging on. You're going to finagle away, oh finagle master, and get it in there over the shoulder pad and underneath. Once you have it angled properly, you're going to come in from the top, hit it with a little bit of super glue and activator to lock it in place. You're also going to do the same for the bottom. Hit it with some super glue and some activator. The gun was still a little wobbly because it was only contacting the model with those 2 points, as you can see here. I didn't like that. So I had a third point of contact underneath where you can't really see. I added some more super glue so I could lock it into the body. hit it with some activator. Once that activator dries, there is very minimal to almost no wobble left. And that is your dragging Space Marine. Oh yeah, I forgot a step. So to finish off this model, you're going to take your drill, get a little pilot hole started. Then I take my knife and I just keep carving away until I have a hole big enough to my liking that I can put a bone into, because the man lost his leg and he's got kind of a bone sticking out. So you can use any cylindrical object. I use this little circular pouch here because it was on hand, and you're just going to keep shaving it down until you get the shape that you want. Once you do, I cut it off so I could shape it a little bit more. Once it's finally down to the size that I liked, you're going to hit the inside of the hole with a little bit of super glue. You're going to stick your bone inside of it, hit with just a tiny bit more super glue and some activator to lock it in place. And that is your completed blown off leg Space Marine being dragged. Yeah.